Hey guys, how you doing? This is Bobby Davis. I am on the tech capital world here at Coder Foundry. I'm joined with Kevin Doyle, my producer. Hey Kevin, how you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Doing good. So
Good. We're a little bit late today.
we are. So we had a
Just
little
technical problems.
Yeah, it's all right.
But we're here.
We're here. We made it.
Technical problems we fixed in like 2 minutes. That's pretty good for us, I gotta say.
That's good.
So yeah, I noticed that of all the people that like come here and support us and do stuff, the one person that called us out, Adam.
Yeah, Adam.
Like I saw your message, Adam. I don't see it now. Would you delete it? Is it? I don't know. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's say hey to everybody who is here.
Yeah.
So Mark is here. Hey Mark.
Yeah.
Maverick's back. Love the Tesla as always. MSV's here. I think you actually commented first again today.
Yeah, he's first. He's there early. Super early. You have to get up early in the morning to beat MSV.
You do, definitely. Fandy's here. Hey Fandy, and can't wait. So that's cool. The wait's over. Cool.
The wait is over here.
Beth is here too. Hey Beth. Obviously Adam is here, calling us out for being late.
Yep.
Glenn's here. Hey Glenn. David's here too. Hey David, welcome back.
Yeah, David thinks that we don't drink coffee this early in the day.
Oh, okay.
That's not true.
That's not true. Mine isn't actually coffee. I will admit I drink water primarily out of this thing by this time of the day. Normally first thing in the morning I do drink coffee. I have an espresso machine at home, so I make like legit coffee. It takes me 10 minutes to make it.
I spend my time making it here in the office though.
We do. We have an amazing coffee machine. I love that thing.
Makes the beans and then crushes
it. Does. It like grinds them. It makes it has 3 different kinds of beans too. It has like a decaf. We put a Colombian and then a dark roast in it. And it makes great coffee. I'm sure Adam can vouch for the coffee, but I don't know if I think Adam drank coffee when he was there.
I'm sure he did. It has hot chocolate too.
Most people do. It does have hot chocolate.
I like the hot chocolate.
I remember when the machine came in. When the machine came in, it was great. It's like, oh, this thing's like a computer that makes coffee.
Yeah.
So the first thing we were talking about is, so how do we hack it? What do we do to the machine? How can we change the drinks on the machine? So that's the first thing we did. We relabeled the drinks.
Yeah, exactly.
I have my own drink on there. You have your own drink on there. We labeled the names and you changed the recipes too. I think you were like, the hot chocolate wasn't chocolatey enough. So we're like, let's make it more chocolatey. So we changed the recipe in the back end to add more powder to it. So
yeah, it's been adjusted a couple of times since then.
It has. That's the first thing we did with the coffee machine when it came in. He drank lots of coffee.
Yeah, it was good.
There you go. Good. It's good. I thought I remember seeing you at the machine.
Yeah.
That's where I would meet most of the Coder Foundry students with the coffee machine.
Yeah.
So interesting. The title of the stream is exactly why I didn't learn web dev.
What did you learn, Maverick?
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'm interested. What did you learn, and why did you go that route? That's interesting because we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the day. So if you got some questions, let us know.
Yeah, if you got questions around topics. So we're talking about primarily the differences between being a full stack web dev or a web developer, even front end, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Web dev, and using a CMS.
Right. So
we spoke to somebody the other day who just used a CMS.
Yeah, and then the CMS being like, if you go out there and just Google this, they'll tell you that WordPress is taking over, and therefore you should learn ASP.NET. And I just think that's really bad advice because I don't think people understand that they're different.
Right.
So we're going to talk about the differences, what they're used for, what's the use case.
Yep. I think that's a common thing. So that's what we're gonna talk about today, or a little bit here. That's not the one I actually wanted. Let's do this. David, Girlfriend needs a sponsor for iced coffee.
We need a sponsor for everything, David.
Coffee sponsor would be epic.
That's right,
so
man.
That would be epic.
But what if it was Folgers Crystals? I mean, that wouldn't be epic.
Well, do I have to drink it? Can I? I'll say it's great.
Good to the last.
Because I'm sure. Exactly. Yeah, I'll say it's great because I'm sure a lot of these guys that are doing commercials on TV for these brands, they're not using these brands.
Right.
I refuse to believe that Matthew McConaughey drives a Lincoln. I just don't buy it.
He does.
I don't buy it.
Lincolns are nice.
I'm But I'm sure they give. Yeah, but I'm sure they give him one. But I don't see him driving it around town.
You don't think so? Big Navigator?
No, I think he's in a Jeep Wrangler that's like decked out to the nines or something. You know,
Porsche.
I don't know.
Okay.
But I'll say I like Folgers if they're willing to sponsor us.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get on that. Natasha will get on that. So
We'll get Natasha to get us some. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Oh, I like this too. I think I've heard of these guys too. Grams and Hounds. Yeah, great coffee and give money to a dog rescue.
Okay.
That's cool. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm into that kind of stuff. My wife always buys glasses.
Social companies that have a social component to their business. So
yes,
it's a big deal.
My wife always buys glasses from a company called Fetch. It's fetch.com, I think.
Yeah.
And they donate a ton of money to animal rescue stuff too. So
Laporta D knows McConaughey personally. He says he drives a huge pickup.
I'm totally with you. That's totally what I believe he drives. Yeah. And it's like, it's probably it's decked out with all these weird things so he can drive it literally up the side of a mountain. If that's not true, then I don't want to know what is true.
So before we get started, I'll tell you my best Matt McConaughey story. So I'm a big fan of sports. I was watching something called the Scott Van Pelt Show, and they were a radio show before he got famous on ESPN. And they were counting their fans on the radio show. And they said, we think we have like 3 famous people that watch our show. And they were like, no one famous watches our show at all. Like, it's just like, we're at the 3 p.m. slot. No one watches. It's just random, regular people. So get this caller calling in, and Matthew McConaughey calls into the show and says that I watch it every day. And it was so cool that he just called in and just said,
that's funny.
Kind of owned it. And he's a huge Texas Longhorn fan. That was just if you can find it when he called in the Scott Van Pelt show, it was so funny, and now.
Okay, so let's try the same thing. Nobody famous watches us.
Nobody
famous watches us. one of you guys is famous.
Let us know, man, if you're trying to learn how to code and you're in a movie or something.
Matthew McConaughey, if you're out there watching.
We'll take a popular documentary. I mean, so,
right.
A good short, if you're in a good short or something.
100%. Definitely. Yeah, Death Wish Coffee. That's what we want, Adam. That's the sponsorship we want. They're a good brand. I've tried that coffee before. It's got tons of caffeine in it. It's like a highly caffeinated coffee.
All right. So we got a local bean place around here. Cranky's Coffee.
We do. Cranky's is good.
Yeah. Maybe they'll sponsor us one day.
Yeah. Maybe. Cranky's is legit good. Here you go. Maverick. I learned app development instead, as I thought CMS would render web development, especially for freelancers, as obsolete.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
I think
exactly our topic.
But there's nothing wrong. I think, Maverick, you're following our advice always is figure out what you want to build and then learn the stack based around that. So instead of just randomly learning, C# necessarily or React or JavaScript, you got to know kind of what your goal is. And once you figure out your goal, it's easy to figure out what to learn.
Yep.
That's good. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely. Let me look here. Let's look at some memes first before we jump into this stuff.
Let's start the day with the explosion. So
exactly. Let's start with an explosion. Let's
do it.
Why not?
Yeah.
Okay, so our friend here, MSV, posts a ton of memes in our meme channel, and I love it. Thank you for doing that, and keep doing MSV. It. Because we like them. Some of them are truly great. This one I love. I believe you posted this one. Note he's using a Mac.
Yeah, underwater.
Very not
that doesn't work though, man. Come on, man. No one can code underwater with a MacBook.
Very not waterproof. Now your phone in recent years has been waterproof if you have an Apple. Okay. Your MacBook still not waterproof to this day. Don't do this at home. Okay. What else do we have here? This one I like too. This one was super good.
It's real.
Everybody that's seen these Orange County Choppers show, whatever it was called.
Yeah, it was a Discovery Channel show. It's a father and dad, and they're always yelling at each other. I think it's half made up, or maybe it's real. I don't know.
But this circular argument is so true.
Yeah, I need a job. I can't hire you without experience, but I need a job to get experience, then work. And give me a job experience. And you can imagine the old guy just yelling it.
Oh yeah.
He's got the gun show going on. The old man's got the gun show going on, man.
He does. He's a biker, man. He's a California biker.
Yeah, he's jacked.
The other one that I liked was this one down here. Another MSV one, because this is so true on many, many levels.
Yeah. When you lead a block of code you thought was useless.
This goes for a lot of things. This is not just code related either.
Yeah.
This is,
So should we tell our story, our recent story? This is on our team call.
I
Should
don't
get
know.
mad at us? Well, it's good. It's good. It's good for the show anyway. So like we have a lady that works here, and she was holding up a modem on our team call, and she says, "I don't know what this thing is, and I've got fiber, and I don't think I need it." And then it was like 30 minutes later, she says, "I'm gonna be on my hotspot. My internet's no longer working." And so we don't know what happened, but it had something to do with her pulling that off the wall. So
unplugging it.
So that's kind of like, yeah, what is this device for? I don't really need it, especially if you're in a network environment or something like that. You know, had a guy here one time. We had a switch panel, you know, where all the things are switched, and he just went in the server room one time and just like unplugged it.
No,
he did. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? He goes, well, I was trying to find a port that's bad. I'm like, you know, and if you don't know anything about it, like you home run all of those, and then you write down, so like the jack number out in the wall is the same one on the panel, so you kind of know where they're connected. Now I don't know. I just have to you just plug them in randomly because I have to go like locate them all again.
That sucks.
So, you know,
yeah, that sucks.
And at the time we had like 27 people in here at one point. You know, like there was a lot of people in here, and like
all of a sudden have no internet.
Yeah. So I changed his access card that day. And that's why only a few get in the server room now. Like everyone's like, why am I locked out of here? Like, well,
if there's a chance that you're gonna get in there and unplug something, if something isn't working, that's a problem.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Kind of
See, I run into this problem, even not coding, even in design stuff. I ran into this problem just today. Like I was working on a document, it had a dependency on another file, and I deleted the other file thinking like, why do I need that? Why do I have a screenshot on my desktop that I'm never going to use? I delete it, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, now my other thing doesn't work. Now my document I'm working doesn't work.
Like the way InDesign works, where it links to stuff.
Yes, it links to stuff. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. So this is not just coding. This is your deleting stuff that you think is useless on your computer is a common thing, and I do it all the time.
Yeah, so yes, I know I can use a toner. I was pissed off because I had to go do a toner. Like I'd already done it, and I did label them, and now they're all like replugged in, and they're not labeled anymore. That's why I was mad. Yes, I mean, like
the fact that you have to go do it.
So if you have 48 switches, and then someone goes and unplugs them and just replugs them back in, the labels are meaningless. There's no reason to have the labels anymore. And you have to go retone them all to figure out like what's what. It's just it's unnecessary. So yes, I know. Just so you feel my pain.
Yep. Yep.
So anyway.
Okay.
And then the other thing, I'm just one more thing. The other thing he did was like I had like short cables, and they changed them to long, and the door wouldn't shut anymore. It was just like just leave it alone, man. Like, just get out of here.
Put all the work in to make it look nice. If somebody comes in and just,
yeah. So the short cables are there for a reason, so the door would shut on it. So anyway, I don't know.
Okay, so Brian likes your story. He's crying, laughing about it.
That's it. Yeah. Funny.
Let's see here. Okay, so let's talk about CMSs versus full stack web development, or even just front end web development. It could be either or.
So we got this question yesterday on the Star Wars show where we avoided all questions, but at the end of the show yesterday, this guy asked a really intelligent question, and we just didn't have time to get to it. And I can't remember his name, or we would give him a shout out.
Hold on, I'll tell you right here because I did remember it because I was like, oh, we need to make a topic out of this for today. So
we're going to answer your question in 45 minutes.
It was Grigori Mads.
Yeah.
So I'm not seeing the name before, but what he typed was, he said, hey, I have one question. What's the point in learning web development when there are sites like Wix and WordPress?
Yeah, exactly. What's the point? You know, and so then I, immediately I dismissed the question until I Googled it. And then I realized that, there's all these websites out there that says WordPress is taking over, WordPress versus ASP.NET, WordPress versus this, WordPress versus that. There's no reason to learn these other things because WordPress is taking over.
Yep.
And it's true if you're running a blog.
Right. These seem like apples and oranges to me.
Yeah, like if all you want to make is a .com site, and you want to make a static, what I call a static site, or you want to make a blog, then use a CMS for sure. We use CMSs, so we use Squarespace for our website.
Yep.
For a couple of reasons. Like A, it's pretty fast to pull them up. B, they're easy to change, and when you're building a static website with something like ASP.NET or something like that, it's just overkill. You know, you have to pull up Visual Studio to edit it, which you can. You have to push it to Git, which you can. You can integrate Git to your host and like make it all round trip work. But Squarespace has all that kind of built out for you. The same is true with Wix. And I put WordPress and Wix and Squarespace in 2 different categories. Even though they kind of do the same thing, WordPress is probably like the next level up, in my opinion, as far as like functionality and things you can do with it.
Yep.
Squarespace and Wix, it is what it is, and you got to work around the stuff inside of Squarespace, but you don't necessarily have to know how to code to get a website up and running. So I think that's the advantage of these. So is that means I shouldn't learn ASP.NET? And that's kind of the question. But let's talk about, like, before we get into that, like, why would we use Squarespace when I know how to code? What do you think the answer is that? Because it was my recommendation, just put it on Squarespace. Right. Because I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, it's the right. Yeah. Well, for me, it's the right tool for the right job.
Yeah,
that's the thing. You want to put up a static website for somebody to maintain who doesn't know how to code, like me. If you would have built the site in ASP.NET, then you're stuck maintaining it.
Yeah, I was. So we had to bring a developer resource into it.
Exactly.
And I just didn't want to do that. And so I wanted the marketing team to do that. So we picked a CMS to do it.
Yep.
We could have picked any of them. We actually toyed around with moving it over to WordPress, but like we emphatically just stayed with Squarespace. Now, this isn't a Squarespace commercial by any stretch of the imagination. There's some things I absolutely disdain about Squarespace. Like
me too.
Form integration sucks. You know, it just kind of blows. I mean, like, I wish it was better. And that's so, like, if you needed lots of like complex integrations to your forms, I'm sure there's more plugins available in WordPress. And then that also starts making the case for something like ASP.NET or React or something like that.
Yep.
We have more control over where that information flows and how it flows and what you want it to do.
Yep.
You know,
for me, the biggest difference is if you're doing something in ASP.NET, it's endless possibilities.
Yeah.
Squarespace does put you in a pigeonhole. Let's say that your mom and pop place down the road wants an inventory management system for internal usage. They are never going to stand that up on a Squarespace site.
Yeah.
That's not what that's for. It's a totally different thing. They're going to hire a developer and have a developer make it for them.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's it.
And here's what I tell people all the time, and one thing that I think people need to think about. CMSs have a place in the world, whether that's Squarespace or Wix today. These things have been around since the late 90s. People have been building CMSs to build websites. So you have Drupal, you have a lot of those things out there. So they have a place to build these kind of what I call a marketing website or your .com website that has limited functionality, like things that it doesn't really need to do things. It just displays pages. And so now you have WordPress coming along that like takes it to the next level. You have plugins, the ability to write code. But if you venture away from what the plugins can do, then you should start looking into other ways of building it. So it depends on what you're trying to do.
Right.
But I think you can make money by just knowing Squarespace.
You can. See, John's saying here, even if you use WordPress and are buying plugins or building your own, there's a limit to its ability to be creative. There is. There is. And I think that's the point. Something like, so Squarespace and Wix, I think like you said, I think are a lower level category. They do pigeonhole you a bunch. Even though they're getting better and better, they still pigeonhole you.
Yeah.
WordPress is on top of that, and it gets a little bit more technical, but it also comes with a lot more, there's a steeper learning curve with something like WordPress than there is with something like Squarespace. And then finally, that again has a limit. And then from then you have to go into into true web development. You got to learn a language, and you've got to something like ASP.NET.
Yeah,
is the next level above that.
There's other, and so this market is broad, very broad. And then you think things like Gatsby that comes up that allows you to, like, you know, take your WordPress site and kind of push it and help you with that whole promotion types thing. So a lot of that stuff is really cool. Currently, let's say that you're not a full stack web dev coder. That shouldn't, just because these things exist, don't think that knowing WordPress isn't a skill that can be monetized in the marketplace. Absolutely.
Oh, it definitely is. It definitely is.
Most people can't even figure out Squarespace. Like, I could hand Squarespace to a lot of people, and the website is going to look like junk when it's done.
Yep.
It just is. I mean, even with templates and stuff like that, it just won't look right. Because you still have to, like, know how to make it look good. So, like,
yeah.
So Squarespace is a CMS that you can use for front-end designers that want to charge a customer, you know, $70 a month to host their website and do content, do maintenance. You can do that with WordPress. You can do that with any CMS out there on the marketplace and just charge them to make it look good.
Yeah, and I think I've certainly pushed up Squarespace sites for people.
Yeah, exactly. And so you can make a living doing that and banking it off someone else's CMS. The same thing is true for WordPress. WordPress brings in a little more creativity, and even big marketing firms, like the big ones, are probably using their WordPress people.
Yeah,
yeah, even the big ones.
Yeah, right. You see WordPress, and a lot of those, we talk about this a lot, but when you see PHP jobs, if you start looking at them,
it's mostly
a ton of them are WordPress.
Yeah, so think about that when you're thinking a language. That a lot of the PHP stuff is driven by WordPress. So do you want to do WordPress sites? But I'm telling you right now, you can make $1 million. You can make $1 million doing that. You really can. Yeah. Now you got to sell it.
There you go. Raphael says this too. He's heard of WordPress millionaires.
Yeah.
Just make sites for people with using nothing but WordPress. If you can get reoccurring revenue from that model, 100%.
So I remember there was a Twitter war with a guy, Sheen, that used to work here, and someone else that told him to go back to his WordPress sites, you know, and I remember that. Yeah. Like, and he tried to, like, talk down to him because he's like, oh, you're just a WordPress, you're not a real coder. I'm like, yeah, but every major marketing company that I know that's out there that I talk to, that they're interviewing and they're wanting WordPress people because that's how they build sites for their customers. And that could be Nike. They're building a site for Nike, and, like, they're going to build it in WordPress, you know, for a marketing campaign.
Right.
So it has its place. And so,
here you go. John's saying exactly the same thing. Learning WordPress is worth it because the amount of sites online that need system updates, content updates, plugin marketplace, you can make money. Definitely.
Yeah, if you can build a popular plugin, and that involves coding, John B. So, like, yeah, you can do that. But, like, what I'm saying is, if you learned HTML and CSS and some JavaScript, and that's all you know, but you still want to make a living, you can make a living with something like Wix, Squarespace, or WordPress. So I don't want to downplay any of these things.
Right. And here you go. Mark's saying, before doing software, most of the people I work with create sites, WordPress and Squarespace. Yeah. It's like a gateway. It is like a gateway to being a developer. I think a lot of devs do start playing with CMSs first. They realize, and then you get to the limitations of WordPress. And I think Beth mentioned before that she'd done some WordPress development as well. And it's actually, she just say right here, WordPress sites for several years don't feel like a real dev. So yes, it is like a gateway. You're on exactly the path. But
you're a real dev. Most people can't do that, Beth. I'm just telling you right now, most people can't, like, stand those up. Like, the moment you say install WordPress and they're on GoDaddy, they can't even run through the wizard to get it to even install right. And like, it's just like, and I'm not saying they're dumb. I'm just saying that they lack the patience. They just want a website, man. Like, why is this so hard? Like, why can't you just type it in Notepad? You know, it's like, and so people just don't understand. Yeah.
Yep.
So, but I don't want you to ever feel bad, because you may go back to those skills even after coming to the school, or someone like, hey, you know WordPress, and you're on a .NET team, but the marketing department is standing up a WordPress site, you know, and suddenly, just when you thought you're out, they drag you back in. So
this is interesting. I don't know if this is a standard, like, if a lot of people think this way. CMS is only used by individuals instead of companies. I might be wrong.
I
don't know if that's a common misconception, but yes, that's companies definitely use it. 100% they do.
We're trying to, like, as companies, you're trying to get it to market. I mean, that's what you're trying to do. And so like WordPress is used a ton. I mean, like you can look at like how many websites are built on WordPress. It's used a lot. Yeah. And so
that's why you see PHP high in the
right,
in the language ranks for usage online.
Right.
Because WordPress takes up a massive amount of that.
So look at this. This is funny. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a full stack guy too, man. I've got like, I don't know how many websites we have in Squarespace, 3 or 4.
Well, if somebody wants, if somebody wants a website and you can build it on a CMS, why would you build your own CMS every time? Why would you roll your own? That doesn't make any sense at all.
And you're talking to a guy who has built a CMS. I built one commercially and sold it for years. And then other things came along and I decided to do something different. But I don't think at this point there's any reason to build a CMS. There's too many good ones out there. Unless you're saying, okay, I'm going to do Squarespace or Wix better. Then you build one.
Right.
But you shouldn't build one for your company that says, hey, I need a website. And you're like, well, let me get to that CMS first, and then I'm going to build a content management system. And that's, it's a lot more to it than you think.
So. It is. Esteban says, because CMSs are designed to be easy, definitely doesn't mean they aren't powerful. Very true. You just really have to know how to really use them. Mastery is not easy. And that's true too. WordPress mastery isn't easy. It's not. To pick up the basics, you can throw something up kind of quick. To master it, it's not easy. It's not. Right. And again, like you said, it's a skill that a lot of people don't have and can't attain.
Yeah, and it's a front end skill. It truly, truly is. I mean, it's a design skills, making it look good, and it's a front end skills. And so I think people use them a lot. And so like it's something you got to like mess with. I mean, you may find yourself on a .NET job and you have an internal like inventory control system, but the front end is on Squarespace. And then I can just see the CTO coming down and say, hey man, can you integrate this form? Because we deal with that, like they're always asking me, like, can we make this form go to
right?
And it doesn't work all the time, because it's Squarespace.
Yeah,
and you want to like host your form somewhere else, but like for the most part,
Yeah, it definitely has its limitations. But
so what you end up doing is like taking it to Google Sheets or something like that, and then writing your API off that and pull it out of there.
Exactly.
Or what's the thing that we use? We use something else, the in between Zapier. So sometimes we can pull it out of Zap using Zapier, but even that's kind of problematic. Sometimes it doesn't work all the time.
Right. Here's something. So many clients don't know WordPress, but if they say that we are doing it in WordPress, they are like, I don't know what that means, but I've seen some things around this. They don't necessarily care. Sometimes, or really need to know even sometimes. You'd be like, oh, I'm putting up your website. Oh, you need functionality A, B, and C, and D. Okay, I can do that. Yes, you can pay me to do that.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you can use a tool then, like a CMS they don't expect you to write it from scratch. That would be crazy in some cases. For a static website that's just maybe a few pages and a couple forms, like you.
Yeah, exactly. So David's got a different take here, and I understand what he's saying, that you shouldn't build your own CMS, and I understand what he's saying when he started as a developer, he built his own. So did I. I've done that. So you could get a unique design and the possibility to change it every time. But now, like with the way WordPress templates work, you can build your own template and still use the back end for editing content. So it's all about editing content. But if you want to roll your own, that's all well and good. You're in you got to figure out how to like do all the template integration stuff.
Right.
It gets very complex really quickly. So if you have any kind of complexity, then you start saying, WordPress has got this figured out.
Right.
And so does, but, and there's other ones too. There's a lot of these out there, Joomla and Drupal and.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
There's a bunch.
Beth is saying that she can crank out a basic site in a few hours.
You can.
See, that's
the thing.
That comes with experience.
And so if you're charging $1,000 for a site, and you can do it in 4 hours, you make more money. Or if it takes you 5 days to kind of roll up a basic editing feature.
Yeah.
See, the thing is about building sites for customers, is like you end up where they want to like change the CMS. Like you don't end up like working on the site. You end up like modifying the CMS all the time. You're like, what am I doing, man? Like, why am I tweaking this editor? So like, I'm just trying to like get the content out, and so the customer sometimes can lose focus of, I'm going to stand a WordPress site up for you. Then they don't question the CMS part of it. If you roll your own, then they're like, so can you make this do that? Can you make this workflow work different? Like all this kind of stuff.
Yep. Here you go. Beth has another good point here too. Almost zero small businesses need a 20K custom website.
I hope they do, but I
agree. but it's true, and that's what we see. Man. We see a lot of them don't.
And we don't. And to be fair, at Cortex, we don't do small websites. We just don't do it because it's not profitable for us. But I think there's a market out there for people to just marketing companies and CMS and just
definitely
pick one. I think it's kind of cool. So
definitely. I don't know about the market for WordPress templates these days. It seems like one of those things that potentially is a race to the bottom.
Yeah, so there's any other template out there. I don't know how that works. I mean, but like you can earn extra income. I mean, I don't know if you make a living doing that necessarily.
Yeah,
you might can earn, if you make a popular template and people download it and you get $12 every time it downloads. I mean, that could happen.
Yeah, I don't know what that market looks like.
Yeah.
I know they're fairly cheap. So again, I think it's one of those race to the bottom markets where it's tough to make a ton of money.
Yeah, exactly. So then the real question is, here we're going half past the hour. So let's get into why full stack web dev is a thing, man. So if WordPress and all these things are like so powerful, why even take the effort to learn ASP.NET? Because the learning curve on ASP.NET compared to WordPress it's not close. I mean, it takes a minute to learn that.
Right.
And so like, why would you go through that effort when CMSs exist? And my point is that not every website is a content management problem. It's a business problem, and you're solving a business problem. And so the things that WordPress do don't lend itself very well to solving or building applications that do something. Interaction with data, interaction with the customer. You wouldn't build Facebook's website in WordPress. You just wouldn't do that. You need something special, which is why React was probably invented.
Right.
Because they needed something. They built tools around what they're trying to achieve on their massive site. And so when you have,
can you build a social platform on something like a CMS? I wonder.
I think you're gonna need.
I don't know if that's even a possibility. Yeah.
I'm sure there's some plugins for it. There may be some WordPress plugins.
Yeah.
And Glenn's asking, could you build a bug tracker in WordPress?
Interesting.
Maybe. So here's the problem. Here's the problem that you run into. When all you know is WordPress, then you try to build everything with WordPress, and you can have really bad implementations of WordPress to try to solve a problem it wasn't initially created to do. Can you build a blog with WordPress? Yeah, that's what it's built to do. Content management, it's what it's built to do. Yep. Are you going to put graphs and charts and bug tracker, workflow, and all that kind of stuff? I am sure that you could build it with WordPress. Will it be good? Will it be flexible? Will it be easy to do? My gut feeling is no, but I've never tried because I think there's better tools for that job. And so when you look at full stack web dev, that's where the rubber meets the road, or that's where it separates itself from a content management system. So you're trying to build an application that does something like a bug tracker or like, a social media platform or something like that. You're going to start out with something different. You still have templates. You're still pushing data from the back end to the front end and like telling it where to go, but you need a whole lot more flexibility and a lot more power on the coding back end.
Right.
Yeah. So, and David said it's possible. We should trust him.
Oh, there you go.
I'm saying it's possible.
Yeah. I was saying it's possible.
I agree, man. Like it probably is. But what I'm saying now is like now you're starting to stretch what's possible with WordPress when something like ASP.NET, React, or some kind of Spring or something like that with Java is much better suited to build those things. Yeah. If you're writing an inventory control system and you're trying to do that in WordPress, you're probably doing it wrong. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. And so like I think there's always going to be a need to build custom web development or custom web applications. So, and we'll ask it like right here, what's the future of web dev? And I just don't, I think the future is super bright. You know, I think it's super, super bright because the types of things that people think of are the types of applications and problems they want to solve. You can't solve that with WordPress very easily, or you end up a lot of custom things and you're trying to like make the tool work instead of taking something like ASP where you can just code what you want.
Yeah.
You still have a design pattern like MVC or something like that, but that design pattern is ultimately very, very flexible, and you don't have to use that design pattern. You can roll your own. You can do whatever you want. So I think that is the case of still to this day, when you say WordPress is taken over, therefore I shouldn't learn ASP.NET is a false statement, because like you can build anything with ASP.NET. And I don't think that's necessarily the case with WordPress, or it wouldn't lend itself very well to do it.
Right. So I know a couple of years back when we were talking about switching the Coder Foundry site over from Squarespace to WordPress, because we wanted a little bit more functionality. We were looking at I think we were playing with 6 or 7 different plugins to make the different things work that we wanted it to do. It became super complex. It became complex quickly with a lot of overhead and a lot of sort of competing technologies. It became very confusing very fast. Yeah. And we ended up sticking with Squarespace.
Because our site is relatively simple, and we're like, in other words, like I think I came in, it's like, what are we trying to solve here? Like, why are we going to WordPress? It's better. Well, you know, when you talk to me, it's better is a terrible answer. Like, what do you mean it's better? Like, tell me, what are we trying to fix? What is Squarespace not doing for us that we can just move on and solve other problems, do other things? And I think that's where we came down to.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it's
interesting,
but it can be complex.
Yeah, I like this question too. Kind of like segues into like the future of web dev and what's there's got progressive web applications. These are things that run on natively on your desktop. It runs in your mobile, and it runs on the web. And so like what we're seeing now is some very powerful stuff, especially with Blazor now supports PWA. We're seeing a lot of things there that are kind of very exciting, where you can build this kind of website and it'll run on all these other platforms. And I say natively, not true native, but hopefully people understand what I'm saying there. It runs in a Chrome, like it's an application on your Mac desktop. It runs on your phone. It's not a true native application per se, but like it's pretty cool. And it also runs in a browser. So
interesting.
And then this is another question too. Maybe there's a lot of technical things about headless CMS that you got to get over, where you're just like your content is your just data, and then you're just pushing that data up, and then something is compiling and making the site with tools like Gatsby. I think no. So like I just don't. I think companies are going to
think it like accompanies it. It's a different
companies
product.
will have different needs. And so like, you know, if you have like millions of pages, headless CMS makes sense. If you have 7 pages, like, you know, fizzbuzzenergy.com, I mean, like, why would we do that? We will never do that. So it depends.
I think it's like 3 pages.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not, that tool doesn't solve every single problem. And there's a lot of things out there that work really well for that. And it's kind of cool. And then that's another kind of segment of all this discussion of like,
definitely. I mean, that's interesting. Maybe we can have Ashim come on and talk about that at some point.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting. We'll talk about what they do at Gatsby.
We could talk about headless CMS with Ashim and how that works.
That'd be super cool. Here's a question. It's a personal question for Dear Foro. He's a junior ASP trying to make a website that would be, this is interesting, that would be a tracker for sending your CV to various job offerings to see if there's a response. Fully code, is that enough as a project to land a job?
You know what's crazy? I'm doing that right now. I'm making one of those.
Really?
Yes, me and Jason.
Okay.
So interesting. We're making one in Blazor right now, and I'm just going to like spoil the beans here. Like we're making one in Blazor that mimics a Trello board, and then we're going to hopefully, I'm going to not commit to this, by July, that Coder Foundry students would be able to use it so that they can track their job searches. But yeah, if you're making that, I'd be impressed if you came to me with that. That's kind of cool. I mean, so what I'm saying is that solves a real business problem. And when you're talking to a hiring manager, they're immediately going to know like how job searches work. And then you show, hey, I made this website to find myself a job, and here's all the things I applied for, and I walked.
That's it. Imagine if you'd used it to get the interview that you're at right now, and you're like, oh yeah, my app did this. Like that's cool. That's impressive.
3 emails and 2 phone calls, and I got 1 interview, and I'm sitting here today. Let me show you my workflow. I mean, that's impressive. I mean, like, it's impressive. So I think so. Yeah. So like, I'll just give you some hints there. Look at job search Trello boards. And there's some out there that are pretty famous, and we're mimicking that as a Blazor PWA right now. That's one of the things we're working on. I don't know how long it'll take us to get it done, but
that's interesting. And I totally didn't know that, by the way.
I know. Yeah,
that wasn't a loaded question. I totally didn't know that.
Yeah. So you're not in the office, so like you're just in there talking about it. So that's kind of cool. I was funny when I saw that, and I'm like, wow, that's what I'm doing.
Okay. That's awesome.
I thought I was onto something, but so that's kind of cool.
Let's look here. This is an interesting question. Does web dev evolve anymore?
Every single day, man.
A lot.
Yeah. So like, and then you're seeing it like with CSS evolving, replacing things that JavaScript can do, JavaScript evolving, trying to replace things that backend languages do. You see things like TypeScript come along, trying to make JavaScript more kind of type friendly, type safe. You see a lot of improvement around React and Node, and now Dino. I mean, like, it just came out. And so like, there's all these tools. And then you have these things like Microsoft, the big companies that are evolving their platforms, with .NET 5 coming out this year, running out Blazor, WebAssembly. There's a lot of things going on in the web development arena that are changing what we do. And so like, when you look at fast forward for the next 10 years or so, the browser as a delivery mechanism is going to be here for quite a while until something else dramatically changes. And there's a lot of work going on inside of making the web browser a better client.
Yeah, that's interesting. We've never talked about that. What happens post browser? That's interesting. What happens after a web browser?
What does that look like? Man, that's what I really, really think. I think that's where it's going to go. I think the screen will shift to glasses, some kind of augmented reality interface. I think that's where it's going to go. How long will it take? Whenever Apple gets it out, it'll shift pretty quick.
Right. That's true.
So I think that's where the web, as we call it, could change. But even in web dev, man, I mean, we're also, you got to think of things like serverless functions, web API, RESTful services. You got to think of all that kind of stuff and all the innovations going into the cloud platforms that essentially you hit over the web or of HTTP or something like that. So look, there's a lot of work going on that a lot of things that web devs can definitely learn. And then as you get in the career, if browsers go away, for example, it will be replaced with something else, and you'll be well positioned to be able to take advantage of those shifts in the marketplace. So,
yeah, definitely. So Dear Forrest says thank you. He's motivated for the day for 15 hours of coding, 1 liter of coffee. He's between careers in Greece. That's awesome. Cool. Yeah, keep at it. I'm interested to see your app.
Yeah, if you want to, we have a Discord channel. If you get something up there and you push it in there, we'll look at it.
Yeah, go share it. Get feedback on there too. Yeah, people will give you
feedback. But yeah, I think that'll work good. That's a creative project that you don't see all the time. That's why I'm building one, because you don't see it. And I think it would help our students in their job search. It would definitely help you in you building a unique project that no one has seen before. And I think it'll show creativity, solves a business problem. It meets all the criteria, I think, for a good career.
Definitely checks all the boxes.
Yeah, checks all the boxes.
Yeah. Angular or React?
Neither.
What are you in for? Okay.
So
Vue then?
Vue. If I was picking a JavaScript thing to start right now, it'd be Vue. I mean, that's what I would do. But like Angular's cool. React is cool. I mean, I'm not saying that one's better than the other. I mean, like, pick one and go down the rabbit hole with one or the other. That'll work. And then ASP.NET is where I'm going to start a new project on if I'm doing a web-based project. And if I need a JavaScript front end, I'm going to pick Vue. That's what I would do.
I think you sort of agree with this. Post browser will be on the eyes. Context, maybe not context like straight away, but ultimately for sure, I think that.
Yeah, so like as we know, Apple has got AR glass.
Maverick Symphony AR glasses, as am I. Yeah. I'll be in line when they come out. If there's a line that needs to be stood in, I'm in it.
Yeah. But there's already work and that I've read about augmented reality contact lenses. They're already working on that. The point is the resolution. How do you make it work?
Yep.
And then there's other people that shine lasers into the eyeball to make the retina reflect the image out there. I think that's kind of dangerous. That's going to hurt people's eyes. But like some glasses operate that way. And then like the eyeglass, I think, and HoloLens are projecting the image on the glass, which makes it appear as translucent in front of you. So that, but it's like a little mini screen on the glass itself. So
I'm there with you, Adam. We'll totally do a live stream from the line when we're there. That's
I'll
how the
have
Apple
a pair.
Store.
You can get a pair.
I'm totally getting a pair.
Yeah.
There's no question in my mind. I'm getting a pair.
Yeah. I could get a pre-dev version. I would get it.
Yeah, 100%.
David's right. Gatsby's cool, man. They're making a lot of waves.
Yep.
You know, we had a guy that used to work here that went on to work at Gatsby, and Hashim Warren.
He will love this comment.
Yeah, just follow him on Twitter if you want to know about Gatsby. That's what he does. And they're making strides. They're making a lot of enhancements, a lot of things what they do. Even Microsoft at Build repped Gatsby out there. So like,
yeah,
it's a really cool thing. I mean, yeah.
I need to ask Hashim for some of that Gatsby swag. I like their swag game's strong. I like it. It's good.
Some good hoodies.
They do. Their hoodies are legit. I like their hoodies.
So
here you go. Ryan's using Angular front end, ASP.NET Core for the back end.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is something like that is what I think of. So I think ASP.NET Core for the back end is the perfect combination, and then pick a JavaScript front end that you want.
Yep.
So you got to figure out authentication stuff.
It's a slightly unrelated, but not really, because you've used this.
And we're actually
Xamarin.
We're building a commercial product right now that we will release hopefully later in the summer. We can't talk about it yet. And
this is Forms or native?
It's both.
Okay.
So like right now it's mostly Forms. We're trying to do everything in Forms. Not without spoiling it. Part of it is geofencing is part of the kind of one of the things we're trying to solve. And we're
hence the skateboarding through the parking lot.
Yeah. So right now in the middle of can that be achieved in Forms, or do we have to like write something specific on the Android and the iOS side using native? And so the cool thing about Xamarin is that's not really a choice you have to make. You can get them working together in the same project, and it's okay. So they work together. Just so if you can't do it in Forms or it's clunky in Forms, then you can roll out native, join the two projects together, and it all works in the same project and it works.
What's the benefit in using Forms over native then? So
you only have to do one UI.
Okay.
So the UI will run natively on Apple and run natively on Android. So you only have to build one UI, and you share one code base. With native, you build a UI separate, Android native UI and an iOS Android, and then sometimes you can have separate code bases.
Okay. So you're trying to keep it as streamlined as possible with one.
That's the
as
whole
much
point.
through
Yeah.
as you can.
Right. So like you don't, or otherwise you just build it in Java and Swift and
right.
You know, but like still you're using one language. I mean, so there is some benefits still there.
Right.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. He says RIP Google Glass.
They'll build something. They tried. I think they were ahead of their time. The market went right.
To see the glasses, they weren't. They were built. This is right. They were built before then. I don't know when they were actually. They were so I played with a pair. Man, probably 6 years ago, 5 years ago, easily. I went to a TED conference, and they were there at the TED conference. Yeah. And a guy had a developer pair, and he was letting people like have a go with them. They were super great, interesting to play with, but yeah, they just never became a viable commercial.
IBM had some, and you probably never saw them because they were primarily pushed into the commercial market, and it was all based on Unity or writing Android apps, running on them. They ran Google's Android. But they didn't really take off. I just think you have to wait for a combination of timing and product.
Yeah.
And with Apple's brand, they're going to be able to achieve those two things. And that's what's going to push AR forward. And then you'll see a lot of these native Android glasses come out. A lot of people make them, just like the phones did. You know,
right.
It'd be exactly the same thing, except I've got my Samsung
The
I don't
Samsung
know.
glasses that run, you're right, that
My
run whatever
eyes.
Android version it's running. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No,
exactly.
that is interesting. And I agree that I think that's the way that Google will go. They'll be the platform, not the necessarily the hardware.
Yeah. And someone will make it.
Yep. Yep. This is an interesting question for you. How do you come up with a project? It's the hardest thing for me to come up with. Where do you pull your inspiration from?
So one of the things that I do quite a bit is when I see an issue, I think through the process of like, how would software solve that?
So you start with a problem.
Yes, start with a problem, not a project. And so
It has
like
to solve something.
and so the guy we just talked to earlier, his problem was job search, and now he's building software to help him with that. That's where you draw inspiration from. And so if you can see pain in the marketplace, then and then if you can figure out a way for software to solve that pain for customers, that's a good project idea. I think so. And I'm talking about taking products to market. So, and that doesn't always work, but like that's where you start off with. Start with a problem. You don't need to build software that's looking for a problem.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's good.
There you go. And Ryan's advice is exactly that. Hits the nail on the head. Make something easier for yourself.
Yeah.
That's
Just
it.
fix it.
That's
The
it. Or
problem.
it can be somebody else too. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be yourself. If you're intimately familiar with it, obviously it makes it easier.
Yeah. So Maverick's got a question about the HoloLens, and
Oh, okay.
it's not the closest thing. It is an AR glass to Maverick. It's quite impressive. I mean, like it's cool. It's way cool.
It is cool,
but it's not consumer. It's not made for the consumer. It's made for a commercial application.
Yeah, it's clunky.
It's big, so it's a giant headset that has the computer all in a helmet, and then you put that over your head. And so you would use it. You would see it in a factory. So let's say that you're out repairing a machine, and let's say you could pull up the specs for the machine, and you could also pull a diagram of the machine and overlay it in the warehouse or in the factory. And then it would show you and you could run diagnostics, things like that. And it would show you what's broken, and then you open up and fix it. But at the same time, it could tell you what the parts were and that kind of stuff. So that's where I think AR in the industry will take over. Like you see in like science fiction and movies where they're just overlaying stuff in the real world.
Right.
Like in Star Wars, you'll see them scan something and the overlay is over the generator or whatever.
Yep.
And then there's the plans for it, that kind of stuff. I think that's going to happen.
Yep.
So MSV lets us know our final verdict. Full stack, man. Absolutely. You'll make more money as a full stack dev. What we're saying is if you can't get to full stack, and you can make WordPress sites, you can make money doing that. And I think that there's a market, and there's enough market for both of these solutions out there. And CMSs are made for a specific thing. Full stack's made to build something that an off-the-shelf product can't provide.
Right.
You have to build custom to solve a particular problem. And WordPress isn't really associated or really appropriate to use.
I think like if you're going to be, so actually another part of one of his questions here, wants a job that's working from home, no coding, so making $200. So this could be WordPress. So here's the thing. You have to understand the limitations of WordPress to be able to sell WordPress, because you have to know what you can make, right? That's a thing. You have to know, like, if somebody asks you and gives you requirements, you have to be able to say, oh no, that's not in my wheelhouse. I can't do that. Or I can, and I know how to make it in WordPress.
Right.
So there is a knowledge thing there. You have to know what is possible with WordPress.
And I think David could speak to this more. That you have to be a designer too if you're going to build those kind of sites. It's definitely a designer-focused, designer-driven job that you're going to use a CMS to accomplish those goals. So you have to make it look good, and you have to know when it looks good, and then you have to be able to. But I think you can make a living doing it, and I really do. So,
yep. What's this thing? When building a bug tracker, do you build it online based of using Electron to bring it to desktop better?
So you can. That's a PWA would be if you want your target to be on the desktop and not in a browser, then a PWA is the appropriate target. And Electron is like kind of the same thing. Like you're putting a website inside of Electron. But if it won't run on a browser and you need it installed for some reason, Electron or a PWA is kind of the route you want to go. So I've done both.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Here you go. How much HTML and CSS do full stack web developers actually write? Is it all done in framework instead?
I think you still have to do it, man. Like, if you've ever seen ASP.NET site, the front end is HTML and CSS. And if you're working on that project, you kind of know, even if you're using templates, like a Bootstrap template that you got from
you still got to know it.
You still got to know how to like carve it up and change it. And so I think you have to know a lot of it. I don't think you have to be a CSS expert per se, but you need to know what CSS is, and you need to know like how the classes work and how to write a div tag and all that kind of stuff. Yep. And you need to know JavaScript. You have to, just the way it is. You got to. I like this one. Tomorrow's topic. Got topic requests.
Okay. What are we talking about tomorrow then? Can we talk about does backend alone enough to get a job with basics front end? Okay, we can definitely talk about that.
I think most backend developers are basic front end developers. I really do. Like I meet a lot of guys that work in the industry that can do the front end, but if you ask them to design it, it's going to look terrible. They can do it, but you need to bring someone in with some design skills to lay it out, or you give them a really strict
don't mess up the template.
So you go from wireframe to something like Proto, and you say make it look like this, and then they make it look like that. I think that is really kind of what happens. But most of the magic, and the reason they pay the bills is with that making that back end do what it needs to do. So,
yep. Okay, cool. We're at the top of the hour. Let's do a couple of things here before we.
One last question for the road here. Hello, sir. I started learning web development with this quarantine. I know Java very well, so I need to learn Node.js for backend. You actually know Java for the backend. So if you can't find a Java backend job, maybe you need to learn Node. But Spring MVC exists, and there's a lot of stuff out there that you need to know Java. And also Java lends itself very well to C#. I mean, they look almost identical. So, but pick what you think will get you the job, and so see where the jobs are. So if you think there's more Node jobs where you're at, pick that. If there's more Java jobs, stay with what you got and learn web development with Java.
That's it.
Yeah. So last one for the road. Not really. So
what is this? From the
there is a lot of Visual Basic out there in like web forms jobs that are older, or what I call legacy jobs, that are being translated into C#. So it's relevant, but that's not where the new work's being done. No one's starting a VB project today. I don't think. They could be. A few of them, but not many. It's mostly C# and .NET world. So if you're going to pick one to learn, pick C#.
Okay. If you guys haven't already joined us on Discord, please do. If Adam, you could put the link down there in chat, that would be awesome. If you have it handy, you guys can join us over there. Also, if you are interested in joining us at Coder Foundry, you can go to coderfoundry.com/virtual. We have a class starting on July 6th.
You have an open house next Tuesday.
We do. We have an open house next Tuesday too. If you go to our website, if you just go to coderfoundry.com, the banner at the top, you can click on that and you can register for our open house next Tuesday. If you guys are interested in coming to the school, basically it's going to be the staff will be there, but we will be talking about what we do at the school, what we teach, and Natasha will talk about job placement services and those kind of things that we offer as well.
Yeah.
So that'll be next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern.
That's a sales presentation. So like unlike here, we don't really sell Coder here, but there, if you show up to that, we're talking about getting you into the school. The school starts July 6th. We're about 3 weeks out. We still have a few slots left, and I do know that 40 or so signed up for open house. So it's going to get filled up from this open house. So if you feel like you want to come to Coder Foundry, or you just want to see what it's all about, in the open house, ask questions. I'll be there. Kevin will be there. The instructors will be there. Natasha will be there, and we'll be glad to talk to you. And it's all done through Zoom, so you can attend from anywhere in the world.
Yep.
But it is 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. Eastern Standard next Tuesday.
Yep, 6 p.m. next Tuesday.
Yeah.
We also have the book website up too.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Today.
5stepstoasoftwarejob.com.
Yeah. Let me put that down here. Actually, I'll add it in the comments down here.
Built in
It is,
Squarespace.
yeah, because I did it.
Yeah. Built it in Squarespace. It's got. We're not done yet, but it's enough to do it. And so, like, if you're interested in my book, I hope you are, Breaking the Code. If you're interested in that, we are doing a book launch, and there is a webinar that you can attend to see the internal book launch. I do tell you that seating is limited to that. If you want to come to it, go ahead and pre-register for that, and then you can get a link. It may be pushed to YouTube Live. We haven't decided yet, or it may just stay behind in the webinar. I'm not sure yet what we're
Yep. If we get enough people, we'll probably push it to YouTube too.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll tell you, it's a few hundred limit. So
yeah,
we'll
there's a big list of people that want to come. So like
yes.
So like and I'm not trying to oversell it. I just know that the friends and family side of there's be several hundred from that side coming in to watch the book launch. But if you want to ask questions and I'd like to be there, you may win a copy of the book. We'll
definitely do some giveaway stuff there. Yeah. It'll be fun.
It'll be fun. And it's only for an hour, so it'd be good. And then if you want to support the book and figure out how to help us by giving us reviews on Amazon, that's kind of what the book launch is all about. See if we can get to bestseller status the week of June 23rd. So if you want to help us do that, it'd be awesome.
Yeah. Right. I'm guessing you must have typed it in wrong. I just tried it and it does work. It's 5stepstoasoftwarejob.com.
Yeah. Not the number 5.
And it definitely works.
We do own the number 5 domain, and I will get that out there. That's probably what you typed in. I haven't, we just put it up, and I haven't pointed that domain.
Yeah. We literally just put it up before we jumped on here. So,
yeah.
Let me put that off here. So if you haven't joined us on, as I mentioned, if you haven't joined us on Discord, Adam did put the thing in there. Thank you, Adam, very much for that. We're going to do a Discord thing next week. So we have a call tomorrow. What are we, Wednesday? Tomorrow. So we have a call tomorrow.
With huge announcement, man. It's going to be big. I think it's going to be the coolest thing we've done so far, other than maybe the book. It's not as big as the book announcement, but it's pretty cool.
I like it.
I like it.
And you guys are going to be able to win something. So that's what I like. I like the fact that we're going to be able to get you guys to win something.
Yeah.
We're going to have you do some work for it, but it's a win-win. Trust me. This is a win-win thing for you guys.
Yeah. So
we're working on that tomorrow. So we're going to we may talk about it on Friday. Yeah. But we'll definitely announce it on Monday. I'm thinking that's what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, we'll announce it on Monday. We may talk about it on Friday, but the genuine,
Yep, and we've got Esteban excited again already. Sorry, I need to play this stuff down again, just so. That's pretty funny.
People look different in a suit.
That's funny. Okay. You guys don't normally get to see him in a suit here, so
every
it's
now and then I wear a jacket. Yeah, so most times.
Yeah, if you have a business meeting, you wear a jacket. I will tell you, normally when we're in the office, it's probably, I don't know, it's 50-50 with you. It's I'll see you sometimes in a jacket and sometimes not. So
it depends on what I'm doing that day.
Depends on what's going on.
Like dressing up, sometimes I do, but here I'm kind of casual. So
Yep. Okay, let's wrap this up. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you guys tomorrow. Stay tuned for Friday. See ya.